All right, today we are diving deep into the world of cybersecurity, but maybe not in the way you'd expect. We're going to peel back the layers and look at the critical, often invisible rules that govern this entire digital space. We're talking about ethics, laws, and the line in the sand that separates a security professional from, well, a digital vigilante. Let's get into it.
So let's just start with a really tough question. Imagine this. Your systems are breached. Your data's been stolen. You can actually see the digital footprints of the attacker. What do you do? I mean, that first instinct, that gut reaction is probably to fight back, right? To hit them just as hard as they hit you, to hack back. But should you? Is that even legal? This one question, right here, is really at the heart of everything we're talking about today.
And here's where things get really clear and also really murky. In the United States, the law is just crystal clear. Hacking back is illegal. Period. You can absolutely defend your own turf, your own systems, but you cannot cross that line and go on the offensive. Now, internationally, the lines get a little blurry. There are some super narrow exceptions, but they're so restrictive. We're talking about maybe sending a simple stop message that doesn't cause any disruption that they're basically never used.
So why is the US so strict about this? Well, it's because the law doesn't see hacking back as justice. It sees it as vigilantism. You're essentially taking the law into your own hands. And look, threat actors are criminals, no question about it. But responding to their crime with another crime of your own, that's not the solution. In fact, it can make things a whole lot worse.
And when I say worse, I mean much worse. For one, you could easily get it wrong and end up attacking a totally innocent third party whose computer was just used as a proxy. For another, you risk escalating the whole thing, right? You could turn a simple data theft into an all-out digital war. And here's the real kicker. What if you're not dealing with some random person, but a state-sponsored actor? Your little counterpunch could accidentally trigger a major international incident.
Okay, so if hacking back is just a recipe for chaos, what's the alternative? Well, the answer lies in a structured, principled approach. It's about having a professional's code. This is where we shift gears from chaos to a world governed by ethics. At the very core of this professional code, you'll find security ethics. And this isn't just about some vague sense of doing the right thing. These are actual, concrete guidelines for making the right call when you're under immense pressure. They're like the North Star for every single action a security professional takes, making sure their response is measured, it's appropriate, and that it's legal. This quote right here really just nails it. The most important thing is taking your personal feelings completely out of the equation. This isn't about getting revenge. It's about being an unbiased guardian, 100% focused on maintaining security and protecting the confidential data that you've been trusted with. And that brings us right to privacy protection, which is just a huge ethical responsibility. We're talking about protecting things like PII, that's personally identifiable information, like a name or phone number. And even more sensitive is SPII, or sensitive PII, which is stuff like social security numbers or credit card details. A breach of that kind of data can cause real, tangible harm to people's lives. So how do professionals actually build systems that live up to these ethics? Well, they definitely don't just wing it. They use established models and frameworks to build a solid foundation of trust and security. You can think of these as the formal rules of engagement that guide every single policy and every control they put in place. And the most fundamental model in all of cybersecurity is what's known as the CIA triad. And no, not that CIA. This one stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The best way to think about it is like a three-legged stool for information security. If any one of those legs gets weak, the whole thing just topples over. Let's break that down really quick. First up, you've got confidentiality. This is basically the principle of secrecy. It's a simple idea. Data should only be seen by the people who are actually supposed to see it. This ties directly back to that ethical duty to respect privacy and protect all that sensitive information. Next, we have integrity. This leg of the stool is all about trust. Can you be sure that your data is accurate and that nobody has messed with it? Integrity ensures that the information you're looking at is the real deal. It's correct, it's authentic, and it's reliable. Because without integrity, your data is pretty much worthless. And the final piece of the triad is availability. See, security isn't just about locking things down tight. It's also about making absolutely sure that the right people can get to the data when they need it. If your authorized users can't access critical information, well, your security system has failed just as badly as if it had been breached. Okay, so we've got our ethical foundation and we have the CIA triad as our guiding model. So now let's talk about how we turn these kinds of abstract principles into actual practice. For that, you need a toolkit, a set of real-world rulebooks and guidelines to get the job done right.
This is where security frameworks come into play. Think of a framework as a blueprint. It gives you a structured way of doing things, providing a clear plan to figure out your security goals, put the right processes in place, and then monitor to see how it's all working. It's a system for organizing your whole security effort.
A classic example, one that you'll see pretty much everywhere, is the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, or CSF. NIST is the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology. Now, their framework is technically voluntary, but it is so comprehensive and so effective that organizations all over the globe use it as their go-to guide for managing cybersecurity risk.
Now, working hand in hand with frameworks is the idea of compliance. And if a framework is the blueprint for your security house, then you can think of compliance as the building code. It's the set of specific, often legally required rules that you absolutely, positively have to follow.
And believe me, there are a lot of them, and they're usually specific to certain industries. So for instance, PCI DSS is for anyone who handles credit card information. GDPR is all about protecting the data privacy of folks in the European Union. And something like FedRAMP standardizes security for US government cloud services. Each one is a totally different rulebook for a different game. Let's just zoom in on one famous example, HIPAA. This is the big US law that protects patient health information. It's really governed by 3 core rules. The privacy rule, which says who can see the data, the security rule, which lays out how it has to be protected, and the breach notification rule, which, you guessed it, requires patients to be notified if their data gets exposed.
So after all of this, all these rules, these frameworks, these principles, what does it all really boil down to? Why does this matter so much? Well, it comes down to the true role and the true responsibility of a cybersecurity professional. It's about their mandate as a guardian.
Let's circle all the way back to that question we started with. The digital vigilante acts on emotion, they hack back, and they risk creating even more chaos. But the ethical guardian, they're disciplined, they operate within the law, they use established frameworks, and they focus on protection, not revenge. Their entire professional identity is defined by a commitment to order, not chaos. And that identity comes with a really clear set of obligations. As a professional, you have to stay unbiased. You have to be transparent and rely on hard evidence, not just a gut feeling. And you have a real duty to stay informed, to constantly improve your skills so you can help make the entire digital world a safer place for everyone. And all of that leaves us with one final and pretty crucial question. We have all these ethics and laws and frameworks for the threats we face today, but the attackers, they are constantly changing their tactics. So we have to ask ourselves, are the rules we have today going to be enough to protect us from the threats of tomorrow?